Alright, this is the Indestructible pin used on my TR8, and most recent improvements to the Indestructible pin was to add these little O-rings. And there they are, the number 78 O-ring, shows you the dimension there. And what you do with this is you just take it, slide it over your pin all the way down to the front. And what that does is absorb impact over the entire pin itself to the front, so that way when it's on the guide rod or however it may be mounted onto your gun, it's distributing that force over the entire pin instead of just cutting at certain areas. So this was a huge improvement. It's basically allowed the pin to last much longer, but it still wanted to wear over time. And what I mean by that is the outer layer of tape would start literally splitting, and so you'd have to replace that outer layer of tape. And if you didn't do so in time, you would have to replace both layers of tape, because I got a red, white, and blue layer. And like I said, the reason for that is I can replace the outside layer if I catch it in time, and so I don't have to redo the whole pin. But if it gets to both layers, both the white and the blue, which are the outside layers over the rubber band, if it gets to that white layer and I got to replace that, it means I got to replace the rubber band. And that's no fun, because that's the most challenging part of making the pin, is making the buffer on the front of the rubber band and then firmly wrapping it along the entire pin itself, keeping the profile skinny and making it look good and function properly and be the right dimensions. So anyway, it's a great pin. It's not perfect. Nothing's perfect, but sure as heck try to get there. So what I have been experimenting is making it better is with this. And this is, as you can see, it's heat shrink tubing. This is 1/2 inch diameter, and they come in little 4-inch sections. So what I've been doing is basically cutting a 3/4 inch length piece, same width as a layer of electrical tape, and putting it over the pin, kind of like so. Alright, and then taking whatever heat source you can get, this is a heat gun, and then heating this heat shrink tubing right over the pin. So I'm going to do that a little further back so I'm not burning up all my connects, but I'm just going to turn the heat gun on. And then I'm going to just kind of go slowly back and forth on this heat shrink tubing. Alright, put my gun down. Alright, so there you have it. The heat shrink tubing has shrunk right on the pin, and it leaves a very professional finish to this pin, and adds a completely circular tube. You see it's a complete circle to the outside of the pin. So the chances of this breaking, with it being made out of some sort of plastic or rubber, is less than having some electrical tape sort of wear out on you, at least so far from what I've seen. So this pin now, with the heat shrink tubing shrunk down and around the pin, and that little rubber O-ring on the front, which will all start to compress once you put it on the gun. This pin right here from tests has lasted long enough to where the rod itself was failing before the back of the pin was failing. So that's that. This is what I've been working on, and I'm going to continue to test this idea out, come up with the best pins possible, and go with that. So if I get any changes in results or things just aren't working well, I'll let you know. But as of right now, this is the pin I'm going with for my guns, and it's holding up well for me. So that's that. Have a good night. Hope you enjoyed the video.